I am born 14th August 1996, which means that my birthday is shared with Pakistan. And when living in Pakistan, that means that you don't really get your own birthday and you have to share it with Independence Day parades and green cakes and Pakistan flags every single year. And it's been a tough birthday for me when I was young, when I used to celebrate my birthdays. Now we're in a different time zone. But Bashar, never have I had a birthday where I got kicked out of the national Pakistan team. And then the guy who replaced me scored a maiden century, won the game, won player of the series, and also wished me on his story. My name is not Muhammad Rizwan. My name is Nazar Sayed. With me is always my brother, my co-host, Bashar Sayed, who, if there was ever a definition of Schadenfreude, he is experiencing it.
Congrats to Muhammad Haris on his maiden century in T20s, and a very happy birthday to Muhammad Rizwan. You cannot script this.
A man plans something, and Allah plans something. And surely, whatever Allah plans happens. Man, I'm just like tough beat for Muhammad Rizwan here. That's all I'm gonna say. Outpour of love from each and every player. You know, Babar, Rizwan, that quote unquote partnership, completely enthralled by the Pakistan cricket media, and then Muhammad Haris, who was sidelined, completely left out of certain series. That infamous Wahab Riaz press conference comes to mind where he's like, "Oh, Muhammad Haris is arrested and nobody sees him for 12 months." All of that, Bashar, culminates to this day when Muhammad Haris comes out, scores 107, not out. The man who had not scored a single half century in his entire career. That is something we talked about on this podcast. When is Muhammad Haris going to score big? When is he going to score big? Man, he listened to the podcast. He's an alumni of the podcast. He's been on the podcast, a guest of Backward Point. He comes out and scores 107, not out, Bashar.
Just to quote Babar Azam on Muhammad Rizwan's birthday, he wished him a happy birthday on Instagram stories. And what a beautiful thing to say. Definitely not ChatGPT, not AI. Babar says, another year, another overbowled by life, but you are still not out. Respect. At Muhammad Rizwan PK, hashtag inspiration.
And Muhammad Haris then took the screenshot of that and just blurred out the word not out and just said, "You're out of the team now, for sure, for the T20s. Goodbye."
Yeah, just in complete seriousness, we have been on the Muhammad Haris train for the past over 2 years. Why? Because we've seen his impact in the PSL for Peshawar Zulmi. His numbers speak for themselves. I think his strike rate in the PSL is about 170. He debuted in a T20 World Cup in Australia against a high-pace attack of South Africa and immediately made an impact. And that the fact that he got dropped like 4 matches after that shows Pakistan's mentality and staying conservative. We couldn't back a player who was going out there playing selflessly for the team. Obviously, when you're playing high-risk cricket, there's chances of failures, but that's when the captain, the coach, the selectors, they need to come in and they need to give the player security that we're backing you. Go play your game. You might not score a 50 every match. But you might win us 2 of every 10 matches. And those 2 matches might be critical matches. And so what pisses me off here is that Wahab Riaz rested a 22-year-old Muhammad Haris. And the next series, he was dropped because he had a bad PSL. So just finding excuses to sideline him, something happened post 2023 where I think Haris upset the PCB, Haris upset the captain, the management at the time.
The wicketkeeper?
The keeper, probably. And PCB took vengeance out of Haris. They did not let him near the Pakistan team for over 12 months. Haris went back to domestic. He was captaining Stallions, won them a championship, came back in the PSL, scored runs for Zalmi, went to New Zealand, played impactful knocks there. And what's criminal here, and this is what I hate about the PCB, is that Wahab Riaz did all of that. Wahab, captain, the management at the time, and Wahab Riaz is gone now. So how do we hold those people accountable who wasted 12 months of Muhammad Haris and his development?
Yeah, those are solid questions. And is there any way to catch them, have them in an interview, maybe get Wahab back on a press conference? Definitely not. He's gone. Whisper like that. Out. And that is the cycle that Pakistan cricket finds himself in. The grit that Muhammad Haris showed, though, is that he never backed down. He knew that if not today, not tomorrow, then after 12 months on Muhammad Rizwan's birthday, I'm going to score a century. I'm going to prove my naysayer is wrong. And that was the case.
Just when you speak on Haris, and obviously his appearance on our podcast gave us a big boost, but if you go back and hear that podcast, Haris is speaking quite highly of Rizwan, of Babar, and the management. Something happened within the 12 months of that podcast recording where Haris unfollowed Babar Azam. He stopped speaking highly of Rizwan. And I just don't see good camaraderie between those players.
And then you notice that once those two are out of the team, there is certainly a new wave of not only freshness, but that this team looks a lot more gelled. And I love this Pakistan cricket team right now under Agha. His leadership is fierce. He has a direction. He knows what the North Star looks like, and he knows how to get there.
He's selfless.
He is absolutely selfless. He knows that Hassan Nawaz is the proper hitter, demoted himself down to number 5, promoted Hassan Nawaz to 4. Hassan Nawaz 26 off 12 today. So we haven't seen that kind of selflessness, like you said, in a very long time, because we were living in a T20 era where the openers thought that if we don't score the runs, then we will lose. Full stop. And we kept talking about this perpetual cycle that Babar Rizwan play the majority of the deliveries, which leaves nothing for the middle order people to come out and score. And if the middle order doesn't come out and score, they have like maybe 30, 35 deliveries to score 60, 70 runs to overtake whatever the deficit is between the strike rates in the first 10 to 12 overs. And then these guys are not getting runs, they're getting shifted.
Getting underexposed.
How many middle order batsmen did we go through? And now suddenly, just because we made a few changes, we got some old heads out, put some young blood in there. Hassan Nawaz, Muhammad Haris, Saim Ayub. According to Salman Liaga, these 3 should be match winners by the end of his captaincy reign. And if not, that he has failed as a captain. I love that statement, by the way.
We did a Twitter thread a few months back. This was, I think, after the match where Pakistan underscored against South Africa, and I believe the second or third T20I. And we highlighted key reasons why Babar and Rizwan should not be opening, why they should not be batting in the power play, and why they should probably not be in the Pakistan team for T20s. And then we also suggested solutions on potential players who can replace Babar and Rizwan up top. The players we recommended were Fakhar Zaman, Saim Ayub, and Muhammad Haris. Why are these 3 people are not our relatives, they're not our friends. We are not texting them daily. We don't even have their numbers.
Hopefully, I mean, I wish I had time.
It was purely stats based. It was purely intuition based. And finally, through some miracle, Fakhar, Saim, and Haris are part of Pakistan's top 3. And in the backups, we even have Farhan there. So it's just about having a management that is putting the team first. I think for the past 3.5 years, the Pakistani cricket fan base was sold a false ideology to praise guys who have higher averages, who are top in the rankings in T20s.
It was the metrics. We were completely wrong on how to judge what a good T20 player is. Now, this is, again, specifically T20s. This is what we're focusing on right here. Now, ODIs and Test match cricket is, in my opinion, a completely different ballgame altogether, to quote the great Vakar Yunus. I think that the metrics that we had set ourselves up for were wrong. Somebody out there has scored 3,700 T20 runs at an average of 50, but a strike rate of 120. It's not really my forte to tell them to come out and chase 210 or make 210. They're not going to do that. That's not what they're made for. That's not in the fabric of their cricket existence. And so to suggest that those players come out and score big, they have, by the way, they have scored 210, 220. They've chased 210, 220. The highest T20 score of all time for Pakistan is still Babar Azam. I just think there was a time and place for that. And not only them, but the management made sure that they overstayed their welcome. And then we lost crucial years of T20 development for people like Hassan Nawaz, Saim and Fakhar Zaman, Azam Khan, Haider Ali, Asif Ali, Fahim Ashraf. Like name a person who has gone through the system with Babar as captain or Rizwan as captain and not come out the loser. The only person who benefited from that reign was Babar and Rizwan. And it took a lot of guts from the PCB management, from the selectors, from the coaching staff, from the players themselves to make that right decision, the hard decision, man. It wasn't like ripping a Band-Aid. It was like cutting your arm off because these guys are integral in a Pakistan cricket setup. One of them might be the best Pakistan batsman of all time. To make that call is tough. And kudos to the management to actually able to pull one off. And now we're at a place where the 4-1 against New Zealand was like red flags, everybody screaming, running around the hall, like very office, everything's burning down situation. And I felt like the meme where we were sitting and in the chair, everything just fire all around us, and we're just like, it's all right, it's fine. And now we're on the other side of this, where Muhammad Haris, 179 runs in this series, strike rate of over 200 for his century, comes out guns a-blazing, and I think he's proven himself here.
In the past 18 months, we as a Pakistan cricket fan base have seen and learned that once you give young players who have good potential a long run on the international scene and back their failures, they eventually come out to succeed. Now, example is Saim Ayub. Saim Ayub is probably a generational talent for Pakistan, and we gave him an extended run in the Pakistan team, and now he is sort of paying off Pakistan's investment in him. Why didn't we do the same thing with Muhammad Haris? I have his numbers here, T20s. The year 2022, he played 5 matches, and this includes 4 matches in a T20 World Cup. 21 average, 139 strike rate. The next year, he plays 4 innings, 5 average, 91 strike rate. So completely flops in the next 4 innings. Pakistan, instead of backing him, drops him. And then he has to wait over like 18 months to come back into the team. And now this year, he's played the most consecutive matches for Pakistan. He's played 8 matches, 8 innings, 244 runs, 35 average, 170 strike rate. What have you learned again? If you give your players who have potential a long run, if you back them, if you give them security, they will go out there, they will win you matches. This was the highest successful chase in Lahore. And Pakistan did this with 3 overs to spare.
Yeah. You have in the notes that Bangladesh may have underscored by 20, 30 runs. I think if they had scored 220, 230, Pakistan would chase it down. The way that they were batting from the top all the way to the middle to the end, it's beautiful. Bashar, before I get straight into the game, I want to ask you a really serious question. What was the worst birthday you ever had? Because I know Muhammad Rizwan's answer. It's today.
There's an episode of The Office, I think it's season 2, where the whole episode is Michael's birthday. And it keeps cutting to Michael talking about my worst birthdays when I was like 16 or when I was 9, when I was 10. And this has got to be one of Rizwan's worst birthday ever.
Yeah. What about you?
My worst birthday? Can't think of anything.
Yeah.
I typically dread birthdays. I don't like birthdays.
At this age, you should.
Yeah.
When I was younger, it was fun. There's a really funny picture of you when you were like 2, just crying heavily on your birthday. And that's sort of been the ethos of your life.
I would look forward to birthday parties, but only to open the gifts. So I'm like, yo, guys, thank you for coming. Thank you for the gifts, but please leave now so I can open the gifts up.
I mean, okay, I want to be fair to Rizwan here. This poor guy caught a lot of strays just for our amusement. But it was highly curious that Rizwan's inclusion in the T20 squad kept Muhammad Haris, a fierce character like him, at bay for so long. After that 2022 World Cup, he should have been in every single T20 squad for the next foreseeable future. And maybe things would have been different in the 2024 World Cup. Whatever that may be, growing pains, you can call it, just learning from your mistakes. Hopefully, the 2026 World Cup, as it stands right now, looks better to me.
I just think the more time passes, we look back at the whole Babar T20 captaincy year and we're like, what the hell did we do?
It's not aging well, man.
What players did Babar as a captain back and develop? The guys we're seeing right now in the team, half of them played under the captaincy of Sarfaraz and debuted under Sarfaraz. Fakhar Zaman, Fahim Ashraf, Shadab Khan, Hassan Ali. What other players had Babar Azam discovered? and backed and developed.
Aga? Would you give him Aga?
Would I give him Aga? I don't think Aga played as much in Bauer's captaincy. He played like I think 1 or 2 matches. Like
In T20s you're talking about?
T20s. I'm talking about T20Is.
Okay, you're talking strictly T20s.
Specifically T20Is.
Yeah, okay, let me think about that.
And I also think if you're talking about this in the Patreon group chat.
He did bring Haris in that World Cup.
Yeah, but he played like 7 matches under his captaincy and then he got dropped.
Okay.
So
I'm
again,
trying to make a
my
case.
whole point about it, this is player development, backing players, giving them a long run. And so looking back, we were talking about this in the Patreon group chat that maybe the 2021 win against India inflated everything. Maybe Pakistan's performance in the 2022 T20 World Cup where they lost to India, they lost to Zimbabwe, and they just made it to the finals thanks to Netherlands beating South Africa, also inflated what that team meant.
If that World Cup was won by Pakistan, you think we would still, then that duo, the RizBar duo, would just be indestructible. I don't think we would have ever gotten rid of them.
I think if your mindset is to continuously improve and evolve, you would still look back and introspect and think, okay, we won the World Cup, but how can we take this team to the next level? How can we be number 1 team for the longest period of time, win series in every conditions? And again, if I were to hear the stats gurus and the analysts speaking, 99.9% would say Pakistan has a conservative approach, especially in the power play, and we need to change the opening pair.
We will never know what the butterfly effect would have been of Pakistan winning that T20 World Cup.
We can tell the effect of this Sal-Mike era.
Sal-Mike, you're going with that one, right?
Sal-Mike era is here.
It's here.
And also just Salman Ali Agha as a captain. The most immediate effect is that Pakistan, I think, has had 5 centurions in T20Is. The 2 fastest centurions have been in the past 3 months. Hassan Nawaz, 44-ball century against New Zealand in New Zealand. Muhammad Rizwan, 45-ball century today against Bangladesh in Lahore. And a pretty fascinating part about his century, quoted by Mazhar Rashid, is that he only played 4 dot balls in his entire innings. So Pakistan is seeing an improvement in the pace of their scoring. Rihan al-Haq also posted a story on Instagram saying that Pakistan's scoring rate this series was over 10 and over.
Yeah. How much is that is the Mike Hesson effect? I want to know about that. What do you think Mike has instilled in these guys in the couple of weeks that he's been with them that has completely rapidly changed the not only the fortune of Pakistan cricket, but the style of their game? Because this is what they were trying to implement with Aqib back in New Zealand, failing miserably. But now something has changed where they found that middle sweep period where Haris can go slog sweep a ball right off stump over mid wicket, but also play a delicate, third man fine touch, cut, and get a 4 as well. That same delivery. So there's something that's happened. A switch has been made where the levels are just right at the green spot, not yellow, not red, right at the green.
I think Pakistan's mentality in New Zealand in the last series was over aggressive. I think in New Zealand at this time of the year, you had to respect those conditions. There was swing on offer, there was some seam movement, and in New Zealand, even a New Zealand B strong team, which it was very competitive. And I think Pakistan just went for like brainless slogging there. And I think now they've toned it down to sort of a mid-tier level of aggression where they are aggressive, but it's according to the opposition, the situation. And also, Pakistan now has a lot of batting depth in their team. I think we have like Fahim batting at number 8. I don't think Khuzul has batted much this entire series. And so because we have batting depth, we can tell the guys up top to go there, play attacking cricket. Even if we lose a couple of wickets in the power play, it's okay because we have the firepower and the batting depth to come in and still have a good score. Pakistan in the first match were 5 for 2 and they still went on to score 2-1. So it's because we had that aggressive mindset. And I think one more interesting point is that Pakistan, this whole series has lost wickets at intervals, but they've never slowed down to consolidate or build a partnership. They've just gone on to attack.
Yeah, absolutely true. Actually, the batting depth you're talking about, Hassan Ali can whack a few as well. So right after Fahim was Abbas Afridi, who's technically all-rounder on paper at least. Hassan Ali, who we know has at least a test match 50, an ODI 50, I believe, as well. And Abrar Ahmed can just close your eyes. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Look.
And not only that, sorry, I'm cutting you off because it's very important. The depth, the balance that Pakistan team was seeking, they found it with not only the batting department, but the bowling department as well. Again, seven and a half, $8 were used. 7.5. How do you use $7.5? $8 were used. I'm sorry, $7 were used, but it was important to get that depth in and make sure that you get a few overs off of Abrar. Abrar went for 27. That's totally fine. You get Shadab went for 26 and 3 with the wicket. And you try something out at the start with Saim Ayub. He went for 24, no problem. But his first over went for 7. So like there's trial and error, and experimentation and discovery happening as the game is going by. I am so happy that wrote, I should say, script that this is what's going to happen. Haris is going to bowl here and Shaheen's going to bowl here and Naseem is going to do this, is gone. There is a captain thinking on his feet.
Everything is fluid.
Everything is fluid.
It's also, even the batting order is fluid, right? Because I think they've identified that the best time for Hassan Nawaz to come in is in the middle overs when spinners are bowling, because he's tall, he has long levers, he is quick on his feet, so he can attack the ball that's full for a 6 or top. He can also rock on the back foot if it's short and smash it for a 6 on the back foot. So they've identified that the best time for him to go inside is the 10th over or so. So I feel like that's working for them. And that's why in the past 2 matches, Salman Ali Agha, who was on paper supposed to bat at number 4, went at number 5 and promoted Hassan Nawaz over himself. Again, a selfless decision. Also, just wanted to highlight, if you're watching me and you're like, what is this Bashar wearing?
The Toronto Blue Jay threw up on you.
This is the promised cricket jacket, a 1 of 1 given to the first 15,000 people who came in to watch Cricket Day at the Park yesterday. So this is it, guys. This is going to be worth thousands, if not millions, one day.
This was worn by you.
Because it's 1 of 1.
It's 1 of 1. That's true.
And only 15,000 people have it. Only 15,000.
Thank you, Toronto Blue Jays, again, for hosting us. Such a lovely night that they hosted yesterday at the Cricket Day at the Park. Most importantly, if you are watching us on YouTube or watching us on Spotify, we may seem a little bit groggy. We have not slept in over 24 hours. The craziest thing has happened right outside the Rogers Arena when we were walking into the Blue Jays game. We ran into Toby Marriott from Cricket District. And not only that, your boy Felix from the Tailenders podcast
Felix
was there.
White, 1/5 of the Tailenders podcast, a podcast by the BBC, which involves Jimmy Anderson, my favorite podcast of all time. Felix White also just co-wrote Jimmy Anderson's post-retirement book called Finding the Edge. And I was like, Felix White, I love your podcast. I'm a Tailender myself. And we had that moment right there.
Like I was like screaming at Toby was screaming at me, you were screaming at Felix was like, what's going on? It was just like a great serendipitous moment. And after that, like Toby was like, yo, we gotta shoot the podcast. He was so game for everything. We went for dinner, we brought him home at 11:30 p.m, shot a podcast for an hour, dropped him home, dropped him to his hotel, came back home, slept at 4, woke up at 9, picked him up, went to Yashi Sports. This is why
Canada's home of cricket.
We showed him. This is Canada's home of cricket, the Shrine.
People come to Canada and you show them CN Tower. You show them Niagara Falls. We took him to Yashi Sports.
We took him to Yashi Sports 100%. He loved it. He met Nasirbai. Said salam to him.
He's going to use the code BP10 for 10% off his next purchase.
Let me tell you this. Yashi is not only just like Canada's home of cricket. It is the generous home of cricket for Canada. I'll tell you why. He was wearing a Blue Jay shirt, Toby was. And Nasirbai was like, no, you can't wear that. Here, take this England shirt. He gave Toby the 2022 England shirt that was worn in the final. No, not that exact shirt, but the replica. Toby wore it. We shot a whole video. It's going to be on the channel soon. Cricket District versus Backward Point. So get excited for that. And then Nasir's like, that's yours. Gift from us. That's Yashi Sports in a heartbeat. That is the essence of Yashi. And,
that's why they're Canada's home of cricket.
They're Canada's home of cricket because of that. And when Toby goes back to England, he's going to remember that Canada's home of cricket was so generous. They gave me the shirts off their back. And again, thank you very much to Yashi Sports for always being generous with us. Use our code BP10 if you guys want to shop anywhere with Yashi. Links are in the description below. So yes, that's why we're a bit groggy and a bit jet lagged for Toby. Toby was like, we pumped so much caffeine in him, like 3 Red Bulls, 2 Monsters. I made him coffee. He was drinking coffee on the podcast. And then he would like just come in and out of consciousness for like 20, 30 minutes, shoot a pod, sleep in the car. So it's been a crazy, crazy 24 hours. We were not expecting that. But so apologies if the voice is a bit groggy and the words are slurring a little bit. But we're also extremely happy. And I want to pivot right into Saim and you. We've been waiting. The prodigal son. We were waiting for him to score runs. And today, he was amazing. That partnership with him and Haris, that was like watching all of your dreams come true at once.
You know, when you used to watch Dragon Ball Z, the initial parts were just Goku versus Vegeta. And it was just a very long saga of them fighting. And then there was a part in Dragon Ball Z where Goku and Vegeta, they team up. They become one. They wear earrings and they become Gogeta?
No, that's when they do the
Vegito.
fusion thing. Vegito.
They become Vegito. And watching Saim and Haris bat together, putting the partnership up in front of a sold-out Lahore crowd, felt like Goku and Vegeta had fused together.
The OGs know it's all about Gotenks, but yeah, please continue.
And so,
good analogy. Good analogy.
45 off 29 balls, 4 sixes, 2 fours. His sixes went in the crowd. This one guy he caught up a 6. He's on the phone.
That's the most Pakistani thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
On the phone. He catches the ball with one hand, stays on the phone, throws it back, and goes back in the crowd. Continues to be on the phone.
You know why? Because data
bahut
hai. That's why. You can never beat just the energy of a Lahore crowd. And man, they have shown up. 3 straight games over. I think all 3 of them were sold out by the end of them. Just a wonderful crowd. We were hearing a lot about cricket fatigue in Lahore. People might show up, people might not show up. But when you give a consumer the best experience that they can get in that price point, why would they not invest in that? And so when we hear criticism about Lahore, the Karachi Stadium or Pindi or anywhere else, we're like, build it and they will come. Lahore is a great example of that.
I also heard that previous series that because there are certain stars not playing in the Pakistan team, that the crowds might be empty. But for a third match of a series, which is already decided, essentially a dead rubber, a sold out Lahore crowd to watch a new and up and coming Pakistan team, that was to me heartening to see. Pakistan finding new stars when Muhammad Haris was on 99. They were chanting Haris, Haris, Haris. And that to me was a beautiful moment.
I mean, we may be a little bit guilty of this as well, just because we love Babar so much. But there has become a point where I think the Babar fandom has tried to make Babar bigger than the sport. And I think today is a great example of how nobody is bigger than the sport. If Michael Jordan can retire and the NBA can still continue, that's the greatest example I can think of. If Kobe can retire, die, rest in peace, Kobe, and the NBA is still fine, there's no other response. Babar Azam might be one of Pakistan's greatest batsmen, but at the same time, he was hogging up a place that was deserved for some really good up-and-comers like Saim, like Haris. And now that they've got their due diligence, they're winning them games. And now, the criticism that we're getting, the criticism that the Pakistan cricket team is getting right now is that look at these guys rejoicing over a B-strung Bangladesh team and beating them at home and thinking that they've won the World Cup.
But if we lose against them, it's going to be like, oh, Pakistan just sucks.
Damned if you do and damned if you don't.
And if we win, we also suck, but we suck against.
So the whole, I want to explain this again, that our celebration is not particularly towards the win. The win contributes to what our cause is, obviously, which is to make sure that the Pakistan cricket team is improving and is better and all that. But the main focus that we are celebrating on is the fact that we have a forward-looking management, a forward-looking captain, a selfless captain, one of the more experienced coaches out there who, according to Ramiz Raja, who just found this out, has coached Brendan McCullum, Bashar. So if you were wondering, he has definitely coached Brendan McCullum. And you and me and Ramiz Raja all found that out together after the post-conference when he asked Mike Hesson, are you trying to be like Brendan McCullum? And Mike Hesson is like, I coached him. Just do your research, right, Rambo? Like, that's not a problem. We're celebrating that. We're celebrating this new era, this ushering of new blood, this new energy that we have been craving as Pakistan cricket fans. Like, the entire Patreon chat was aglow, not because we were beating Bangladesh. It's the way that we were beating them. It's the intent. Is this kid, Muhammad Haris, that we've been talking about on this podcast for 2.5 years, And Saim Ayub, the Karachi agenda, the poster boy of the Karachi agenda. And we've been talking about these kids trying to make runs, trying to make a name for themselves, and they've finally done it in the most remarkable way possible. That's what we're celebrating. You could have put Ireland there, Afghanistan there, you could have put India there. Doesn't matter. We're celebrating the forward looking of Pakistan right now.
It's the logic, it's the intent, it's the fact that things are starting to make sense, that we can probably be in a position to compete with other teams in a span of a few months. I mean, Pakistan can go to Ireland tomorrow and lose 3-0, but I will not be talking about the team formation or the selection or how they're playing. It might be about small mistakes they're making during the match, but it's never going to be about why is Pakistan playing too slow in the power play. Like we were just so far behind that this is just a leap forward into the future for Pakistan. And it's a glimpse of what this team can achieve. And we were also criticized for celebrating Pakistan's one match win against New Zealand at Eden Park. And again, we were not celebrating Pakistan beating a beast strong New Zealand team in a small round. It was about the way they were approaching the game. So it's the small wins for us. And we're going to keep building on this.
And we saw something in Hassan Nawaz then that was very alluring. He was like a little shiny little object that you just wanted to see what else he could do. And the PSL and then now this series has become just a really good benchmark of what this middle order Hassan Nawaz looks like. And I'm all for it. His hitting is so clean. He has a good head on his shoulders. He can play 360. And when Hassan Nawaz hits them, man, they stay hit. They're going far. They're going into the crowd. You might catch it with one hand, with a phone in your ear, with data bahate, right? That's just the vibe that this kid brings. And I keep coming back to what Agha as a captain is representing right now. Selflessness, forward thinking, innovation, and just looking out there to build a team that wins. And I haven't seen that in a very long time, unfortunately, for Pakistan cricket.
There were a couple of things we kept touching upon in the past two podcasts, which is Saim Ayub, once he gets a start, he gets into a big score post his comeback from injury. And today, again, we saw him get past single digits, go to that early phase. And the shots he was hitting was fantastic and had a wonderful partnership with Haris. And Haris, we talked about how he needs to score big, even though the pushback that we received was that, oh no, Haris's 40 off 20 is still impactful. He doesn't need to like slow down to score a 50 or 100. I get that, but I do think that Haris's critics could use his stats or his 18 batting average or 130 strike rate to kick him out of the team. That's why I thought Haris scoring a 50 or 100 could help just cement his place. I think after his century today, you can't look past him being dropped anytime in the next 12 months. And just going by what Agha said, that he looks at Saim, Haris, and Hassan Nawaz as match winners, you definitely will not be dropping any of these guys until Agha remains captain, right? So just because of this one match, Haris went not out, and his overall career average has jumped to 23, and his strike rate is 152. I think if we do some more digging, Haris might just be like a one of one in terms of Pakistan cricket's T20 batters who average 22 plus and strike at 150 plus.
Yeah, he might be that. He might be that cat.
And that is how low the bar is.
The bar is quite low, but Haris is. We identified this, Bashar, when our podcast wasn't even called Backward Point. It was called something else. And you're like, this kid has something in him, and
his first ball in the PSL down the track to Imad Wasim for a 6. First ball in the PSL.
Yeah, that's him, and he has that. Some people call it recklessness. Some people call it just too much aggression. I just think that's the style of play that he wants to play. He wants to introduce this into the Pakistan nervous system, and he's doing it with a bang.
Let's talk about Pakistan's bowling a little bit, because I don't think it was up to par today. Bangladesh got off to a flyer. They scored 110 in the first 10.4 overs. And I thought at that point they were in a position to have that platform to go 220, even 230 if they wanted to. But losing wickets back to back, not building partnerships, they weren't able to close this off. And I think towards the end, they were at least 25 to 30 runs short, because 200 on this ground is a par score. So if you want to win against Pakistan and this team, you have to score above par scores. So 215, 220 at least. Maybe could have seen a closer match at least. But Bangladesh didn't ball particularly well either. They just kept feeding the ball into Saim and Muhammad Haris' strong zones, and they were good enough to put the balls away.
I think I was quite impressed actually in the first 10 overs of what Bangladesh was building up to. Like a 220, 230 would have been more competitive. I still think that Pakistan would have chased that down. But I was interested in what the batting looked like. I like what they were displaying. The entertainment was there. The intent was there. But, Bangladesh cricket has become a little bit of a joke because this is exactly what they do. They have a good formation, they have a good platform, and they fail to capitalize on that. And that includes Mr. Captain Litan Das, who really is animated in the fielding and the yelling and the pointing and the run faster or whatever. But he has a job to do when he's a batsman, and he has to come out and he has to score big and make sure that his team crosses a certain threshold and make it competitive. Um, I don't know where Bangladesh goes from here. I would love to have a Bangladeshi correspondent or somebody that better explains Bangladeshi cricket to us, because I'm at a loss of words at how a team like this can stay this mediocre for this long, and teams like Ireland, Afghanistan, Zimbabwe even can find ways to be better.
There are three facets to cricket: batting, bowling, and fielding. And I think Bangladesh can only grab on to two things at once. So the first two matches, I think they bowled decently, but they didn't field well or bat well. And in this match, they batted
Well-ish.
decently,
Yeah.
they fielded well, but they didn't bowl well. So it's like they only have two hands. They can only grab two things. Either it's batting or fielding or
Yeah.
bowling or batting. And I do think there is a time for Ratan Das to go back, introspect, and hopefully they can have a better bowling attack, because just talking about what's next for Pakistan, there is reports of Pakistan touring Bangladesh in July for 3 matches in Dhaka. And I'm hoping Bangladesh will be a lot more competitive there, because at home they are a force to reckon. And if they have guys like Nahid Rana back, Taskeen fit, Mustafiz fit, Shariful fit, that will give them a good boost. I'm not sure what the status of Shakib is, because what I've heard at least is that he's living in Dubai. There's cases against him in Bangladesh. He can't return back home because he was part of the government that just got toppled. So his return to Bangladesh cricket just seems iffy there. I'm not sure if he has more value to add to this Bangladesh team. A lot of the guys from his era have gone to retire. Mushraf is gone. Tamim's gone. Mushfiqur I haven't seen in a while. Mahmudullah I haven't seen in a while. So he's kind of like the last man standing from that entire era. Pakistan, I think, should continue with the same squad. Maybe have a couple of changes. Go with like maybe Sufyan Mukim in Bangladesh. What I'm concerned about is Pakistan's bowling, and like they are using 7-8 bowling options, but most of them are all-rounders, and it's like we're only playing 3 main bowlers: Hassan, Abbas Afridi, and Abrar, and we're relying on the other 3 or 4 all-rounders to bowl the rest of the 8 overs. Now, it might work sometimes against Bangladesh or Ireland or West Indies, but if you're playing top teams like England, Australia, India, they might really capitalize on the overs of the part-timers. And so Pakistan, I think, should continue to experiment until they find that right combination of bowlers.
Australia won a whole World Cup with only all-rounders. I think that was a 2021 World Cup. They won with all-rounders. So
they had Stark, Cummins, Hazelwood,
that's it,
and Zampa.
Okay, but they also had like Stoinis and Cam Green and Maxwell and all these guys, and they were coming in bowling overs as well. I mean, it was a predominantly all-around.
But they weren't bowling 8 overs. They still had 16 overs of Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins, Zampa.
Okay, fair enough. I see that. Maybe you could add another full-time bowler in there and maybe have the part-timers come in and go. But I feel like the balance that the Pakistan cricket team finds themselves in right now, I like it. I would keep up with this, at least for Bangladesh, maybe for West Indies as well. Because they have a long touring side coming up from July all the way into mid-August, when they're playing the three T20s against Bangladesh, and then the 3 T20s in Florida against the West Indies, and then 3 ODIs in West Indies. So there is a little bit of a heavier season coming up. They have a little bit of a break right now for the next 6 weeks, which I think they should utilize to the max. Go back, work on whatever weaknesses they see fit, and come back stronger, man. Because this Pakistan team is giving me new life, giving this podcast new life, and we're very excited what the future holds.
What did you make of Ramiz in the post match with Mike Hesson? He's in his first series, just won 3-0, and he's like, "Yeah, you've beat Bangladesh, but how can you beat India? When will you beat Australia and Australia? How will you beat New Zealand and New Zealand?" Like, I felt like he was kind of salty and like,
Yeah, it's definitely.
he was like, "How is Pakistan winning with this new approach? Like, they didn't do it with my chairmanship."
Yeah, it's like sour grapes, right? The grapes are sour type situation. I don't know, man. Rambo, the longer he commentates and is on the screen for Pakistan cricket, the more he's sort of, his legacy is turning into the guy who's just kind of like always there.
Problem with Rambo is that he had a relationship with the PCB. They broke up.
And he's pissed about it.
And he stays in contact with his ex.
Yeah.
He is keeping tabs on her.
You know about that.
Stop. No contact, block.
All right. A major happy birthday to Muhammad Rizwan. Again, just wanted to remind everybody it was his birthday. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break. Actually, that's not true at all. We have so much content pumping out in the next few weeks. Even though Pakistan cricket may be on a little bit of a break, we are not stopping. Backward Point is going on actually gear number 5 immediately. Lots of amazing guests lined up. Lots of amazing content coming up. Stay tuned for all of that. A lot of Cricket District X Backward Point stuff coming out. And then a lot of other stuff that we can't talk about right now, but hopefully soon.
Also spoke to an ODI World Cup winner at the Jays game. So
Liam Plunkett?
Clips on that coming soon.
Yeah, Liam Plunkett was there as well. Spoiler alert. Thank you guys for tuning in. Leave your comment. Tell me all about what you guys are feeling about this Pakistan win. If you guys are Pakistani fans, if you guys are other team fans, let us know how you feel about this. Is it irrelevant to you? Is it at all interesting to you, intriguing to you? Let us know everything.
And that one guy on Reddit who says that Backward Point keeps saying things and then they say, "I told you so." Well, Muhammad Haris, we told you so.
Boom. There we go. All right. Cheers, guys.